Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another fantastic edition of Sit Back with Shaq and Anu. It is a Monday evening, and we're coming to you live on our PodHub platforms, and of course live on Channel 1 on Dialogue TV. And yes, looking forward for another great week of fantastic guests on the show.
Absolutely. And you know, the guest we have here today with us needs no introduction. In fact, Shaq and I, the moment we shared this on our Facebook pages, it just blew up. 10,000 questions have come. Dilith Jayaweera is also, I have to say, I work with Dilith at Triad.
Right.
And but of course, Dilith also has many fingers in many pies, and they all work. Let me just put it like that. And also, before all of this happened, he and I have been friends for quite a long time. But that doesn't mean that he's going to get away with it today, because I asked him straight up when I asked him to join us on this show that we are going to ask you all the hard questions. He said, ask away, ask anything. He said, I don't want to know the questions beforehand, just ask whatever you have to ask and I'll answer them.
We don't know the questions either, Dilith.
That's good, that's good.
We have no idea about the questions either.
That's really good.
All right, lots we obviously need to get into. As always, we're going to be starting off with the daily poll, and on the show we have a daily poll, and remember, all the details will be coming up on your screen. So let's have your daily poll on the screen right now.
I completely forgot there was an intro for the daily poll.
Yeah,
sorry about that. So here it is, and this of course was gleaned from all of the questions that happened on social media today. So it's a yes or no answer. At the end of the session, we will reveal where it stands. Is the media industry truly unbiased in Sri Lanka? Yes or no? WhatsApp your answer to 0776 691 590, and you know, we'll tell you as it is.
Yeah, exactly. And as a matter of fact, there's a good question that we can actually start off when we do have a chat with Dilith in just a few minutes. So that's your poll. Is the media industry truly unbiased in Sri Lanka? You have the number on your screen, like Anu said, 077 669 1590. Right now, we're moving on, of course, big stories as far as the day is concerned. All hand-picked Twitter updates on our Twitterati Daily. Here we go. Let's have your first Twitter update on the screen right now. We're going to quickly run through these updates. And the first one, of course, this is the public urge not to remain in fuel queues for the next 3 days, 20th, 21st and 22nd. Fuel distribution to be normalized from the 23rd onwards, according to the minister, who was also on the show with us last Thursday. But the funny thing, of course, is there are people basically in queues today.
Absolutely.
Right?
They are in queues, and not only that, they are being pumped fuel.
That's the thing. That's what we need to figure out also. This is Sri Lanka to import paper for textbooks, apart from the other stuff that we need to import. Big story for the match yesterday. Sri Lanka beat Australia in a record chase. And I think this is also the first time, I know, that Sri Lanka has beaten Australia twice, back to back. The first time they beat
the first time, good heaven. Well,
back to back in 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, you really don't hear of them being beaten that easily, but what a chase.
It was honestly an amazing one. Congratulations to Kusal Mendis, of course, who scored a match-winning knock for Sri Lanka last night, became a first-time father following the birth of his daughter this morning. So congratulations to Kusal Mendis. Happy birthday to the President. It's President's birthday today. Yeah. And there was, of course, lots of action at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. This is the action that we were actually talking about. Police detaining a group of protesters near the President's office, including activist Anuruddha Bandara. And what else do we have? This is the Sri Lanka's win that we were talking about earlier on, and this is a breaking news today.
Absolutely. I mean, you hardly ever saw this kind of news beforehand. So Dhammika Perera promises to the Supreme Court that he will not take oaths as an MP or as a minister until a decision is made with regard to the FR petitions challenging his appointment. So this might take some time.
Yeah, and this is another big story which actually came out from Australia, and a big thank you to the Australian government, and of course the Commonwealth Bank has come up with a special scheme to send money to Sri Lanka till the 11th of September 2022.
Yeah, but basically they won't charge you for sending money.
That's right.
Yeah.
And another big story from Minister Harin Fernando, who tweeted this late this evening. 21st Amendment was tabled and passed in Cabinet today. Will be tabled in the Parliament soon. And obviously thanking the Prime Minister and of course the ministers involved for pushing it through. Right. So those are the Twitter updates for today. Lots of stories. Of course, we can't be handpicking all those stories. It's time for us to dive deep right into the show. Firstly, Dilith, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
Really appreciate it. And of course, we've got lots of questions that we have, and lots of questions, of course, our viewers are going to be sending in, which will be popping up on the screen. So let's start off with where we are right now as far as the country is concerned. Dilith, you were a staunch supporter of the incumbent president and a good friend of his. You were obviously on his campaign trail, and this of course is a very viral picture which went on not necessarily in Sri Lanka but all over the world, right? And now, is it safe to say you flip sides, or
no?
Or is it? Are you just playing?
No,
the gallery?
that's wrong. That's wrong. It's
Okay.
for me to say that I flip sides. See, I have to put this in a perspective, Shaq.
Right.
So when you say that, you know, I have been the staunch supporter of someone in politics, it really could give sort of various imagery.
Right.
And I don't want to be part of that kind of imagery. You know, it's in principle I decided to support him. Having said that, I must say in the political arena or a stage that you basically find two parties contesting, two people contesting in an election.
Right.
So you have to select one candidate, if at all, if you have a reason to support, whether it is out of your patriotism or whether your personal agenda, your business expectations or whatever, you decide to support one person or a party. So he happened to be the choice. But having said that, I really don't want to get away from it, because I am always saying very openly, unlike before in this situation, I wanted Gothabaya Rajapaksa to be the president. As I have told in many other social media platforms, it was actually when he didn't want to contest.
Right.
So I think I was probably the first to sort of tell him, why don't you become the president of the country, because that was my experience with him throughout the war. Because I was handling the campaign Api Venuwen Api. So my experience with him was very, very positive. So I thought a person of his caliber should become the president of the country. So that was my conviction at the time, and I did not have any other expectations. I thought that after 70 odd years of Sri Lanka's independence, and we will find someone who is going to be different, apolitical, who will have sort of a vision, who is probably more exposed to the world, and I had expectations. So I had that belief.
What made you think that he was the right person at that point?
So obviously, needless to say, that on the other side there was a candidate whom we have seen, who has a political history, who comes from a political background, a political family. We belong to that era of politics of Sri Lanka.
Correct.
You know, I was in the University Anu at that time of when Premadasa, Sajit's dad was the president. I was a student leader. I was a strong, I would say, very active student politician in that sense.
I think the law faculty still talks about.
about so we fought against that kind of the politics at that time. So I come from that kind of background, so I had to find an option. So having said that, I also want to say it's not because he's bad that I supported JR. In my opinion, I thought Gota was different, and we had this understanding that that by that time itself the Rajapaksa family, in my mind, and I can today very confidently tell you that it was a rejected concept. So we thought he is different, and we had this understanding that he is not going to entertain his family. He will come as a political president who will appreciate meritocracy and who will give the opportunity to the people, the kind of leaders, business leaders, an opportunity to support the country.
Absolutely, and those concepts were in place. You know?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
And the problem is, you know, my question is, Dilith, at what point did this start to change? I mean, you know, this now everybody had this vision, not just you, right? 6.9 million people, I think, shared that vision.
Yeah.
And then at what point did it start to change? Was it when the elder brother, you know, came into the scene and started?
As I have mentioned before, also in one such similar discussion, I in fact shared a video on my Facebook wall. It video was produced by this young people, Labbe. And they in fact ran sort of a song with this little piece. It in fact said an advice, you know, if he wants to sort of deliver the promises of we expected, and you have to be away from the family, warned him to be away from the children of MR, and to also keep MR on track, otherwise you are going to get in trouble. So that is the video that I shared the very first day when he became the president, and today, and he did not listen to that song, or for some reason he did not believe in that, and that is why he is in trouble. And if you ask me that question, or if I am to answer that question, I would put it this way: when it was evident that he is moving away from this agreement or the understanding that we had, that was the day that when I got this other than an alert on my phone saying that PB Jayasundara has been appointed as his secretary, and I thought that is the day, that's it, and we are not going in any other direction other than for what the rest of the Rajapaksas were going.
Did you speak to him though?
Yeah, of course, I met him that same night, and I was shocked, and I was really shocked to hear that, because I understand why he was coming to that seat, you know, all powerful presidential secretary sitting in that seat, having control over the treasury and the central bank, and as I expected it happened, and today we are in this trouble.
Let's take a couple of steps back before he actually got the nomination to be the president. There was a lot of rumors running around that within the Rajapaksa clan and the family that they did not want him to be the president.
Of course, they didn't want.
They didn't want him. Okay, so what changed then?
So, sir, the thing is, I think giving the little benefit to the GR, a little bit of benefit. I don't think he would ever, he expected it to happen this way. I mean, within few hours or few days, this whole thing changed. They took control of him. That's what I think.
Right. Okay. So, in terms of where you are right now, Dilith, where are you right now? Are you against this government? Are you against the president? Are you against the policies that he supposedly promised during the election campaign? Where are you right now? Where do you stand?
Yeah, I am against. I am against for a very simple reason. See, when we came up with this idea of Gotha, we were full of expectations. We thought that this country was going to see something that we have not seen the post-independence. We thought there is a man who is coming, you know, from a sort of a military background, who has thus far delivered, and I personally thought, and many of my friends thought, many of the people who supported him thought that he was going to be very different, and he could sort of deliver. He was not indebted to anybody, so he could be free. So we expected him to be that, and it didn't happen.
Okay, so where do we go right now? Obviously, you've been very, very vocal about the standings of the current government, and then right now we've actually dipped to new lows in this country.
And every day we are finding, I think, a different new low.
Exactly. And now, if he was the person that you thought who was going to basically come out or be different, What's the problem? Was it his advisors around him? Did he make, I mean, clearly bad decisions were made because the buck stops with the president at the end of the day. So where do we go from here?
See, Shaq, what happened? Now, example, this so-called all-powerful president who, after the 20th Amendment, you look at the 20th Amendment as an example. So 20th Amendment was the worst ever, the decision that we have taken, because it in fact changed the public perception towards GR. That was actually the very first thing where people started losing faith in him, because the 20th Amendment was clearly targeting at taking this dual citizenship concept, I mean the clause away,
right.
For his brother to come to the parliament.
Right.
I mean that particular thing, and I can tell you in public, I raised that itself, right. And in fact I was very much against it. I campaigned against it. Many of my friends and many of the people who are in politics, they do know that I was very much against it personally. I campaigned against it up until he promised me personally that Dilith Rajapaksa was not going to come to the parliament by using this opportunity.
Yeah.
And the very thing happened. The very thing happened.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if you ask me, Shaq, today that I am going to support that kind of government, I'm sorry, Shaq. I'm telling you, because Anu knows me personally, as he very correctly said. You know, I'm not any one of those people who, I mean, the business circles who would support politicians for other reasons other than for what I believe in, and I don't have to support that kind of government.
No, Dilith, I told you that I'll ask you all the hard questions.
No, of course, any question you can ask me that I am not going to
able to answer. So here we go. So this is something that so many people asked me to ask you, and you know, anyway, they were all having fights on my Facebook page about these questions. First of all, now you have been not only from Gothabaya Rajapaksa, but you have been close to the Rajapaksa family for the let's say last 15 years. How exactly have you benefited, or have you benefited?
No. I know. I also want to clarify that.
Yeah.
See, I was not ever close to Rajapaksa family.
Correct.
Why are you perceived that way then, if that's the case?
See, it is
exactly what I wanted to know.
Shaq, yeah, I can tell you the truth. See, I am, as you all know, probably I am a happiness man. I am not on this negative quotient. I really don't want to get into negativity, criticizing people. I mean, even in privately, even I take this stance that it's not. It doesn't give you happiness. So if I am to sort of talk about something of this this nature, and if I was to be, I mean, of course, I have been very, very critical. But it was never an open thing, and there was no requirement as such for me to sort of come and tell you that I am not a friend of Rajapaksas or something.
Right.
But it was nothing like, for me, in my conviction, I thought it never needed an explanation, because I never did. I mean, I never wanted any support from them for my business activities or anything. I never moved, I mean, with them the way others did, like the rest of the corporate Colombo. I was like, I mean, I did two campaigns. I did 2005 MR's campaign, 2010 MR's campaign. I mean, I had never sort of gone and visited them even after a campaign. I have never even gone to like so-called watch results in the night with those people or something. I never attended. I never wined and dined with any of the rest of the Rajapaksas except Gothabaya Rajapaksa. So I always respected him. And I never thought that in my social equity was getting sort of impacted by having friendship with Gothabaya. But rest of the people, I never wanted to have that. You know, I mean, I know these are bad optics. So that was it.
Has he failed, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so.
He has failed.
Of course, because it's very simple. He comes to deliver something, he can't deliver that. I mean, that's real failure.
Do you think that we will obviously have an uptick in the country, and he needs to go for us to have an uptick?
See, it's a very, very complex question. I would put it this way, because I am a believer of democracy, because I mean, we are forced to believe in that, and I think it is in the absence of any other option, democracy probably is a way, a solution to sort of run or govern a country. So if we are believers of democracy, we can't sort of bend this the way we want it, and depending on the person, depending on the government, whatever. I can tell you in 52-day that so-called ugly drama, during that time, I was very much against that decision of the appointment of MR by force as the Prime Minister.
Right.
I personally met the Prime Minister. I extended my support and allegiance, and I said, we will support you, so much so I convinced Mr. Gothabaya Rajapaksa that we should not allow that to happen. So I take the similar stance today. If we are to do it, we have to find a democratic way to solve the problem, because you today bend this rule, and it is going to be precedence in the future, and any government, the best government, can be toppled by a couple of people. I mean, we have to agree on rules first of all. Right. So rules cannot be changed like just cricket. I mean, only 11 players can play. Example, tomorrow, just because we want to put another guy, we can't change rules. So, I mean, if we agree on rules, but if you ask me the question whether he can continue to deliver, I would say in this situation, no.
So are you saying that the Aragalia, which is actually being formed right now, are they following rules?
No, see, it's like this.
Are they right?
So with due respect to some of the section of the youth, especially who are part of this Aragalia, their attempt and their beliefs are very bona fide. They genuinely believe in that. But you can believe in something, but when you have to get it executed, you got to agree on certain principles and beliefs of a democracy. We are a democracy. I mean, if we believe in democracy, then we have to agree on rules. I mean, some rules. Otherwise, the continuity of democracy is at risk.
So this Tarini Fernando has just posted this up, and this is something I actually, which brings me to my next question. Now, Derana, which you head, is perceived as very racist and very biased.
Yes.
How much of an impact do you have in their biases or where they stand? You know, do you dictate terms to them? I of course know the answer to this, you know, because I work together with you. But I'm sure. So these are the problems out there. You know, how you are perceived.
And how much do you influence?
Yeah, I can answer that question. In fact, this brings somewhat a little sadness to me.
Okay.
So when people come and ask for system change, you know, we hear this, you know, hashtag system change the works. See, I believe that I am committed for this change.
Right.
So that's how I thought, when I know that I have control over Derana as a channel, which is 16 years old, and the investors or the entrepreneur behind this channel should not have control over the content. That's had been my belief for 16 years, and that is something I think my contribution to the system change of this country. And that why you asked me this question, and Tarini is asking that question.
Let's just pop up that question one more time so we can actually read it out.
Tarini's question is because of the natural belief of Tarini that if I own Derana, I must be having control over everything, the anchors, the content, the lineup, everything. See, if at all there are 600 odd people working at Derana, you can ask them. It's a small society, very closely knitted. I can tell you very confidently, I have not touched the content for last 16 years. 16 years. I mean, that is why I'm coming and sitting here with you guys. Otherwise, I can just go and sit in one of those studios and I can get any one of them to ask me questions. I see. The point is that one system change I believed in. I mean, ownership is different. The editorial content is different. You can say this is all bullshit. You know, you own them, you pay their salaries, their bonuses depend on what you think of them, the works. But frankly, as a business, what do you want in this business of medium of television? You depend on ratings.
Ratings.
Yeah, of course.
viewership,
How entertained
eyeballs.
are you? Yeah.
I am not an idiot, a fool to drive my personal ambitions, views, whatever I want to drive through this channel and get my channel ruined, because mine are very personal. I am a very politically sensitive person. Been so for last good 35, 40 years from my childhood. So I know the risk, and I know the risks attached to that, and also, and I think it should not be so, because Shaq, to answer your question, I must tell you, there is only one such vertical that I come as an investor. You know, we run 3 newspapers. Example, broadsheets. Actually 6 of them, 3 weekends and 3 dailies. And there's a Tamil newspaper called Tamilan. And then there's an English newspaper called The Morning. And then there is a singular newspaper called Aruna. You look at the editorial stances that they take, very, very, very different. And many people talk about this example, Dhammika Paniya.
Right.
The very famous Dhammika Paniya.
Right.
They say that you were behind it, you supported it. Okay.
So they also say, among other things.
Amongst other things.
Amongst other things. I mean, honestly, within a week or 2, the singular newspaper, Aruna, the Satyaga Aruna, carries 1 full page article hammering Dhammika, and from Paniya to his his personal life to everything. So no one is asking me, he is owned by Dilith also. So this is because I believe, this media personnel, the power of someone who comes and sits here as an anchor, the power comes with the independence that he or she gets, and that power drives the brand or the channel. So any one of them know that they can come and say anything of their belief, and they can get away with it. I think probably, as I share among my colleagues at Derana, at management meetings, probably Derana may be the only channel on earth where there is this kind of freedom that they can just come up with this cockeyed ideas and still I have to be answering your questions.
Are you willing? You spoke about ratings. You spoke about eyeballs, which is obviously clear as far as a channel is concerned. Are you willing to do whatever it takes to actually get your ratings up and your
No,
eyeballs?
actually, I would put it this way. We have some basic principles at Derana, which today stands very firm. I'm talking about the current affairs aspect of it. So, three such things which I shared with the original team of Adar Derana as far as 16 years ago. First principle is that you got to report it from a reasonable human being's point of view. Whatever you report, you be the judge. You have to be a reasonable human being. You can't form opinions against your conscience. Second thing, thou shalt not hurt. Because you can, because we have access. We are using these frequencies to reach the whole world, and today we are using the web and all that, and we can say anything you want because you have it. But you have to be reasonable. It should not hurt a person. You take the issue up, but don't go after individuals. We have never done it so far. Thirdly, this country is something that we all love. We all love. So this nation has to be protected at any cost. So you have a responsibility and to look at the large picture of the nation, and you have to be responsible. So in that context, Shaq, we don't really go behind ratings. It is not as a management our view that they should do something to get ratings.
Not at any cost.
Not at any cost, if you ask me that question. But I must tell you, I don't think we have done a perfect job. There had been instances,
of course.
and I think in Tarini's question, you asked me that question whether we are
about the biases,
biases and being racist or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, people who closely associate with me and they know that I'm a very inclusive person. I'm a very, very inclusive person, and I believe in this. In fact, I came up with this concept called the inclusive nationalism, and I am a very nationalistic person. But in that, I believe the inclusivity is the key, us as an island. So we need to be very, very open about it.
Why? I mean, obviously, there's another question that's actually clearly coming in, and we were touching on this, what we're talking about in terms of Derana as a media organization being racist.
Yeah.
Derana as a media organization always going after the minorities in this country. And clearly, you are attached to it because you are running the company, so to say. But hasn't anybody called you up and said, listen, I think you guys are going down the wrong line? I mean, there have been many instances that you have gone after the minorities in this country, unlike any other media organization.
Shaq, it is not a very fair observation. I think it is the sort of social media hype and the so-called comments and so-called posts, which in fact gave exaggerated some of these incidents, and it got hyped up disproportionately in my belief.
Right.
But however, there had been many instances, my friends who call themselves belonging to which I don't believe, this concept of minority. It is not in my vocabulary. However, they call themselves, and they have brought this up to my attention. So most of the time, what I have done, using my power as using the power of ownership, I have always connected them with these people direct, and I have given opportunities for them to come. And as a result, I mean, many a times, all these people who thought in instances that Derana was being a bit biased towards in certain issues like Easter attack.
Right.
So I believe Derana current affairs section gave exposure to the other side equally, but at the same time, they, starting from our name Derana and my association probably with Gothabaya Rajapaksa, the war, all that probably may be forming that opinion that we are that. But it is really not fair. I mean, I know personally most of these anchors, they are very secular people. I can assure you that. It's just that they take issue at hand, and I think maybe one or two comments or one or two programs will be taken taken out of context and being discussed in that platform.
Right.
I think with due respect to the producers and anchors, and they also should probably be mindful of this perception being out there.
That's been created. Right.
But that's not true.
Right. So
A lot of it is by association.
I think I must tell you, I am also not being fair in that sense by the brand Derana, because they immediately connect me with Derana because of this ownership connection, and my behavior has been pretty irresponsible from that perspective. But I have always maintained in public fora to say that, you know, this is my personal views,
right,
and has nothing to do with any of my companies, including our advertising companies or newspaper companies. But what people don't, I mean, where I get bit hurt, you know, I think we had guts to give complete independence to the editors. Example, if you look at if you read the morning, the newspaper, the way they take issues, and the way they go at it, I think it's very evident that there is no ownership bias in the content.
we had a question that actually was up on the screen right now. We're going to quickly run into that question and
This
find
was
out more
about the Chatura's
details.
statement.
Yeah. Do you want to read that, Anu?
Yeah, when Chatur's off-air racist comments were leaked to the public after the Easter attacks, another international media network would have reprimanded or fired him. But you did no such thing. So does it mean that you agreed with his statements? This is Dylan Abraham asking the question. I do believe that that answer was given just now to that.
Yeah. So I mean, especially on this particular instance, what actually happened, Dilith?
I don't know what this particular instance that he is referring to. Chatur off-air racist comment. Oh yeah. I remember this.
It's not very easy to forget, Dilith.
No. This sorry. I remember. This is that in an interview.
That's right.
See. I must tell you. Now, off-air is very important. Quote unquote.
Yep.
Off-air, I don't know what you are. Off-air, I don't know what you are. So off-air, what they discuss, what you talk is like a closed washroom. It's off-air itself means that he believes that it can't be on air. Right. So it suggests that he can't say that on air. So it has only gone off-air. So off-air, I don't know, because off-air, if you look at it from the time that he leaves office, it's off-air.
Right.
So off-air, what he does, I have no control over. I mean, what he discusses at home, what he discusses with friends, if even it gets recorded, if it comes to me, and I can only say that I am sad about it. He personally thinks otherwise or different to what I believe, because that's my view. So your view, my view, and his view are the three different views. I mean, I can't reprimand somebody having a personal views on an issue. He could be even racist. I mean, honestly, my little observation about this particular anchor, Chatur, I haven't seen him being, generally such a polarized, biased, racist person. But to answer this question, it happened off air.
Right.
So I have no control of my staff off air, including Anu.
Anu does more stuff off air than on
I'm
air.
usually off air.
You will have to reprimand him in that case, as far as that is concerned. Do you feel that you are an impediment to your companies because you are Dilith Jayaweera?
Yes.
Do you not?
I agree.
I mean, do you think the company and your media station and your advertising agency will actually flourish more if you are out of the picture?
I mean, at least there would not have been, as far as these column book circles are concerned.
Right.
I must be very honest.
Right.
They would have done little better.
Right.
But it has not been, I mean, in terms of perception.
Right.
Because I'm a very open person. I'm pretty vociferous. I have my own view most of the times on any issue, and I'm very open about it. So as a result, I think however much I say as a disclaimer that this has nothing to do with my company, they're always connected to the company.
Of course.
But I think, see, it's like this. I am a package.
Either you love it or you hate it.
Like Marmite.
I'm like Marmite.
So I have to ask this also, like people love to, we hear the bad stuff about Dherana. Whose idea was Manu Sadhirana?
No, it's like this. I would always give the credit to the team, including those anchors that, that whom you think are probably, or what you discuss as not so unbiased. But the team came up with the idea.
Yeah.
I think they really drive it with
and it
so
has
much,
benefited thousands of people.
So much passion,
Yeah.
so much passion. I mean, honestly speaking, Anu, as you personally have experienced this, tried this, a different matter. But if you look at an organization, I mean, it's a culture of the team of almost 600 people. I mean, it carries real values. I mean, it is an unbelievable team. I mean, that organizational culture would be an example to any organization, how they are so knitted, how they believe in these things. At times, what you don't see, so-called off-air, they get into public transport, they go to very remote places to help people, they carry stuff on their own. At times, sometimes I feel very, very, very bad when I hear that they have spent their own money, personal money, to go and see poor people in villages which they think it is not proper for them to show it on social media or media for that matter. They do so much. I mean, that culture I really love.
All right. I mean, there's lots of questions obviously been popping in right now, and there's one that's been sent to me also, which I am going to read out on the show. What steps or campaigns will you initiate now on how to rebuild Sri Lanka as a patriotic Sri Lankan? You come out as a patriotic Sri Lankan. Where, I mean, is any campaign even going to get us out of this?
Shaq, that is actually the question. We have done campaigns over almost now. My advertising life is about 30 years. See,
and I believe Triad is your pet.
Yes,
right.
Very much so.
That's it.
Very much so.
So you always basically favor Triad for
yeah,
any other
yes.
That's the end of their.
He usually has lunch there.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite project, product, company, brand. Yes, but I must tell you, through experience, what we know is campaigns are done to communicate and create perceptions. See, when there is a perception that we can create or we create, and there is something called reality, that's a gap between perception and reality. When that cannot be maintained, either campaign itself cannot be sustained. So in this situation, if you are to launch a campaign, what guarantee do you have that there would be delivery to maintain the campaign promises? Yeah. So, I mean, we can do together, we can do a even more beautiful campaign than Api Venuing Api, which we think is the most successful campaign this nation has ever seen. But in that campaign, we knew it was going to be delivered. So we are confident, we knew it was going to get delivered, so it got delivered, and today I don't have that confidence, to be very honest. So I wouldn't know, I mean, by just doing a campaign itself is going to solve the problem without having deliverables intact.
Actually going back to, we will get back to this in 1 second, but I just wanted to ask, now Dilith, lots of people grouse with you. There's a lot of haters out there. They're grouse with you.
In Colombo.
in
Colombo.
Yeah, mostly in Colombo.
Why
Colombo
do you keep
circus.
saying Colombo?
No, because we see the social media feeds and who's behind it. But my question is this. So a lot of people blame you now for putting Rajapaksas in power.
Yeah.
So somehow you are to blame for influencing people's minds to vote in their democratic right for the Rajapaksas. Now, how do you see that? I mean, were you just doing your campaign? Was that just your job?
No.
Or were you really pushing for it?
No.
Yeah.
I in fact tried using our experience and our ability to create all that to influence people, which I don't try to sort of say it is not so, but that is out of that conviction and belief that
Correct.
that we were going to achieve something big. So then I put all my efforts, my creativity, all what I could do to achieve that. But that is with the expectation, and the expectation was not just like fallen from the sky. I had an experience with him throughout the war. Everything that we promised, we delivered. So I mean, tell me one reason why that I shouldn't have believed in him.
Correct.
Tell me one reason. Because to that point, he delivered and so selflessly. So I had that conviction.
So you were one among the 6.9 million individuals who obviously believed in him at the same time.
No, I believed more than the rest of the 6.9 million people
Believed in
no,
him.
that's why I feel sad.
You expected something. Did you expect influence from the government? Has your company, any of your companies benefited from the government at the moment? Has your media station benefited? Has all the other companies, have you benefited?
See Shaq, that's in fact is the because things don't bother me. People know me, they know, but this is something which bothers me a little bit, because I always tried to protect, and I valued my social equity and my relationship with the society that I had, the mere association with Rajapaksas, so-called this indirect, it has sort of disturbed my happiness. I can tell you, as I have mentioned in certain other interviews before, I am very proud of one thing, that I am a product of the Sri Lankan culture, the civilization, as I always call it, the concept of Sri Lankanness, and also I am a product of the free education. And in that education only I got this opportunity, I mean in that context only I got this opportunity to be where I am. And I am proud of the fact that I became someone who had this little ability to create things and use imagery to convince people in terms of brand building, in terms of doing social media, social CSR, socially responsible campaigns, whatever. So my happiness doesn't come through the amount of money that I make from any of these things. I never saw money as the end achievement of the business activities. We always used to call it for as 25 years, 26 years in Triad, early days of Triad, the profit is a byproduct. It is purpose beyond profit, and we always believed in that. So if I was to sort of give in my social equity to achieve something that I like to gain by way of business achievements or money or power, having any association with Rajapaksas or politics for that matter, I mean, I am very sad. If that is that perception which bothers me, I can clearly tell, and I can ask this question from anyone in those Anu's and Shaq's Colombo circles, can they pinpoint and say this particular business, the particular deal, particular, let's say, frequencies or the channel approval, what do you call this, license that they achieved through this relationship? I challenge both of you.
I'll ask you one. I'll ask you to basically give us more details on this perception that was going on with this whole antigen kits that was going around.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of stories behind that.
Absolutely.
The tender that was actually out, and the samples that were given in within 3 days, and you are one of the two companies that provided the samples.
Correct. Basically, when you break it down, they felt that you made an unfair profit out of, you know, having monopoly on antigen kits.
Yeah. So explain that to us.
See, now that is what I am trying to tell you, Shaq.
Yeah.
Now, it's a long story, but put it in like the shortest possible way.
This is not in the courts of law, is it? I mean, we can talk about it.
No, of course we can
Right,
talk about
okay.
we can talk about it. We should talk about it.
Right,
Actually,
absolutely.
we should talk about it. I think we as a company deserve this
To be heard.
To be heard.
Of course,
Okay.
and that's exactly the idea.
to be heard.
Right.
Because see, this antigen was the kits were imported by a company called George Stewart Health Private Limited.
Right.
George Stewart is a 186-year-old company which we acquired only I think 15 years ago or 16 years ago. This is a protected company, public company, not listed. So George Stewart and Company has 14 subsidiaries, and George Stewart Health is one such subsidiary which is about 40-45 years old. So when we took over the company itself, this company had that many agencies from across the world, from different suppliers. So when we came into the picture itself, this company had this agency for this brand, the company called Abbott, and SD Biosensor, the two kits which got approval from the World Bank or WHO, right? So they happen to be the only two kits which got WHO approval, and at that time, since it was something new, something was at the experimental stage, WHO said you can use only WHO approved kits.
Correct.
So this company happened to be the agents. I mean, this SD biosensor, not only they produced the antigen kits, I mean the COVID antigen kits. They have been this George Short has been importing. George Short Health has been importing antigen kits for dengue, for rest of the influenza and other things. They have been importing antigen for over the years, and the same company only almost invented the COVID antigen kit.
Right.
And that company had a technical understanding or something like that with the American company called Abbott. That is why these two companies got approvals. So that time, George Short had to be there for my bad luck. For my bad luck.
Right. You are affecting your companies. That's the problem here. You built these companies, but you're affecting your companies.
So in fact, the joke goes to say that I was actually, it is true, I never wanted antigen testing for COVID, because I knew antigen testing was a easy and very affordable way of testing anything, because it was some $1,000 odd, 1,200 or some 1,100 or something compared to the PCR testing. So I used to, some of my friends, I think one of such friends, the doctor must be watching. In fact, I used to argue with him, because when he used to tell me passionately that, you know, Dilith, we have to bring down this antigen kits, I said, don't bring down antigen kits. More tests means more cases. More cases means
more lockdowns.
More lockdowns. And, you know, I mean, the antigen kits are, it's not the only business we do. I mean, we do tea. We do, we are in hospitality,
yes.
We are in advertising, we are in, I mean, we are going to lose more. I mean, every time there is a lockdown, that, you know, we lose from tea business, from our hotels are closed, our most of the businesses are travel business, I mean, which is one of the biggest businesses that, I mean, important businesses we have. So, I mean, it is to our own business interest, and it is less number of cases is going to help us more. However, this antigen thing is a very vicious thing. I have gone on record to say, when it was brought to Sri Lanka, on the request of the chairman of the BOI and the chairman of the EDB and some of these big business personnel, including people like Tamika Pereira, they put so much pressure on our company, our group, to bring down antigen kits. And actually, it was not originally imported to give it to the government. It was to test at the factory levels.
Correct.
And the BOI factories and the EDB. So much so, Shaq. It is the irony of it is that George Short and George Short Health, from their own money, they spend something like 14 million rupees out of their budget or the antigen thing to send an aircraft, cargo plane, to Korea to bring down Sri Lankan Airlines cargo plane, so that these factories can run
continue
smoothly,
to
function to help the industries. They, out of that happiness only, went and put that thing on Facebook to say George Short and Sri Lankan Airlines are very proud to bring, and then starts attack.
But you did follow the process to bring it
Oh, of
down.
course. See, this is why
Everything was followed as per the NRA.
100%. That is why when this was first mentioned in the parliament by our good friend Harin Fernando, of course not from on his own will. However, when he mentioned that in the parliament, I personally called him and asked him what the problem, what is the issue. Then in fact I had to ask my colleagues at George Short Health, I mean, have we got all the approvals? I mean, do we have the approvals?
So you had no idea about the process anyway?
No, I mean, these out of 39 odd companies,
Right.
that this is one such company.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's insignificant, it's a big company, but you know, my involvement with Triad is much more bigger, or maybe with Idea Health is much bigger than with George Short Health. You know, I don't get ever involved, and I have never got involved, because that business is not something that you know, is
We have another question coming in from Gayani.
Right. Now, now I want to tell you this and quickly.
Yeah.
See, unfortunately, it got a political twist to it.
Absolutely.
And I went to court. Shaq and one mainstream media channel also went on air. I got a permanent injunction. To date, that injunction is effective because the judge gave a judgment to say prima facie there is a winnable case here, and they were asked to stop airing anything against George Stewart Health and Antigen. To date, they can't air.
Right, we're just into the last few minutes as far as the show is concerned. I mean, again, you know, it's
I want to talk more.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we want to.
We will. Don't worry about it. We will. But then we obviously have something coming up right now. Just before, you know, there's so many questions, Dilith. I mean, I think we can do like a few days with you, as a matter of fact. But before we go, just before we actually do run off, we're going to quickly go back to the poll that we actually shared earlier on. It'll be very interesting to figure out the answer to the poll. But
I actually completely forgot about the poll.
Yeah.
So this was the question: is the media industry truly unbiased in Sri Lanka? Yes or no? You were supposed to WhatsApp your answer to 077 669 1590. And of course, this is as the results stand, you know, as it has come in.
Yeah. Before it actually comes out, quickly, do you think it's unbiased in Sri Lanka, Dilith? It's very biased.
100% biased.
Right?
100% biased. But it is important that this bias, from whose point of view, is important. That's a very complicated question, but it is biased.
It is biased. Okay, let's find out
what the answer
is. Ooh, 4% say the media industry in Sri Lanka is truly unbiased.
So 96%.
96% believe that the media industry in Sri Lanka is completely biased.
Right.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Dilith, thanks so much for coming on the
show.
Thank you,
Shaq.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks
to
a
have
lot.
you on the show.
Thank you, Anu. Thanks a lot.
Have you back on the show. It's more stuff to talk about, and till we actually catch up with you tomorrow. Before we do go, we'll let you know who our special guest on the show is tomorrow, and it's coming up on the screen right now. Talk about the apparel industry.
Correct.
We have Sarindo Nambu on the show with us, the CEO of MAS Krida.
Who is also fit as a fiddle.
Yes, that's right. And talking about the apparel industry, we'll give you more details. It's going to be a lot of fun with him. Till we actually catch up with you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Have yourself a wonderful night, and we shall speak to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.